Hi, welcome to Cat Switch. This is our tech channel where we cover Microsoft device identity and user management technologies. And today's episode, we're going to be reviewing basically how to take that application we built last time and then moving it into Configuration Manager version 2111 using the application model. So the episode 3, we'll look at doing the package model and kind of common scenarios for that. But in this one, we're going to take what we did in the last episode, which was an exciting episode in itself, and moving that into ConfigMan and then deploying it to one of our test clients. If you're new here, please consider doing a like and subscribe. It really does help. And also thanks for all the recent comments. They're super nice and really appreciated. So let's get into it. Let's hop to it. Let's get to it. All right, so we've got 7-zip. So last episode we just took an MSI, which is a standard application type that we wanted to do for an enterprise deployment. The scenario is you've gotten asked by your IT admin, you're still learning how to do this kind of stuff, of how to take an application and then build it and deploy it enterprise-wide silently. So this is, a standard MSI, which makes it easier. And then taking that and then look at doing a silent deployment. So we've got, just standard MSI call, QN, no restart, L*V for logging, and then we output that log. So let's go ahead and get into Configuration Manager so that way we can get that built. And all right, so it looks like we've got it. We must have copied it last time. We got it over there copied. So let's get over. Before we get over into the configure environment, remember that we're using this free lab from Microsoft, this Windows and Office Deployment Lab Kit. It comes with a ConfigMan environment as well as domain controller, internet, MDT server, some test clients. It lasts for about 6 months, but it's great if you're trying to learn. So just as a reminder, that's where I got this lab from. All right, and then we'll get to our ConfigMan server, because you can see here it's like valid for a certain number of days. And Endpoint Manager, where are you? Here you go. Alright, so first thing I usually do is we build the device collection. Looks like we actually built that. And then now we need to deploy and create the application. So we can do it as an application or a package. Application uses what's called a detection method. So it detects if the application is already installed. It detects if it meets the requirements. If it passes those, it installs, and then it detects to see if it meets the detection, to see if it did install correctly. And kind of like we did with device collection, I use like a folder methodology to kind of keep stuff simple. So we'll follow that same kind of method here. So 7-zip, and then come in, right click, create application. Because it's an MSI, it's gonna, this is our one of our options here is MSI, whether it's AppV. You've got some different options here. So all right, let's get CM1 / SCCM source. Oops, wrong one. Not doing OSD currently for that part. Here we go. All right, application 7-zip. So I do, and again, following kind of folder structure here, applications, vendor, version, and build, like, this is where I'm building it versus just the basic source. And then this is the build number in case I ever need to rebuild it. So open that. All right, so 7-zip. All right, so then it auto fills it in. We're just going to auto do our detection method. Sure, it can be verified. That's okay. We'll give it a name. I like to put, a few comments, that kind of thing. Publisher 7-zip 21.07, and then we're going to use So we could use this or just modify it, but since we've already written it out, let's just go ahead and use that. Install behavior is installed for system. And I'm going to not go over every little piece, not keep it complex right now. So this one's just, this is how you do it. Standard, this is the kind of the standard ask here. And so once it's created, we then have to distribute the content and deploy it. So we could do that, one at a time. So I could distribute content, deploy. You could do a test simulate deploy, or create a phased deployment. But in our case, we're looking for distributing content and deploying. But we can do the distribute content at the same time we do deploy. So just right click, deploy. You can also use the button up here, but let me choose our collection. It defaults to user collection. Let's go to, in this case, a device collection. This is our collection. Distribution point group, our DPs. You could do a DP, but to kind of get more than one DP, we'll use the DP group. And then we get an option. So we want to install or uninstall. It defaults to install, so we want to install it. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to do it as required, or we want to make it available? So I'm going to just say let's make it available so that way you can see what that looks like. And you could schedule it, schedule it out kind of thing for a future. How do we want it to show? Do we want it to show in Software Center and then have the little pop-up notification here that they have a deployment, or just show that pop-up notification if it said it needs a restart? So we'll do everything for here. And again, just leaving defaults here to not overcomplicate anything. So create alerts. Give a summary. So this is like our last check here. We want to make sure that the member count, we want to make sure that we're not unintentionally deploying something that could cause harm, like re-imaging all the devices in the workstation or deploying an app to all systems when we don't need to, that kind of thing. So we'll keep going here. All right, so if we bring this up, refresh, see it's in progress. There's of course logs for that. Config has logs for everything, which is awesome. So it's the disk mgr.log is what queues it up to be pushed to the pushed out. And then let's look at the package ID. So 0B. So if we highlight 0B, it'll pop out, make it easier to see, and we can see how it did currently 1. This is the package ID, so it's basically getting it queued up, and then we can see it drops down to 0. You can bump this up if you need to, that kind of thing. So then the second one where it actually does the distribution is this one. I think because the DP's on the same server, it's not really going to show us anything. Yeah, since the DP is also on the management point, it doesn't really do anything. But that's if it was a separate DP, another server, it would show that. So alright, let's come into here. So we can now see success, and this was when it was updated. So on our test client, we actually have this already installed. So let's uninstall it real quick while that's logging in. So clients are going to, one of the things is, okay, how do you, get this client to check in and try to get it? So clients follow the client settings, whether it's default or custom one. They get their policy based on what is set in here. So client policy, it defaults to 60 minutes. Most organizations end up just bumping this to 30. You can, of course, tell it to not wait. We can come in here, right-click, client notification, download computer policy. Okay, so basically don't wait that 60 minutes. Go ahead and try to figure out what's going on. The other one, because we already had it installed, is doing the application deployment eval application deployment. So that way it checks to see if it is, doesn't meet the requirements. Is it still already installed? And let's make sure we have CM trace. CM. Here it is, our logging app. Alright, so then CCM, we'll see Windows CCM logs, and yet, so let's open up Software Center. So it should be under, there you go, Software Center. So nothing yet. Might have to kick the client into gear. Let's find our client that we're using. I think that's the problem. Here we go. So now we should get this updated. Yeah, you have to have the client in the collection in order for it to get to deployment. So now we'll do client notification, and then in our case, because I had it installed recently, we'll do an eval, app eval. And let's just make sure it's getting policies. It is, it can take a little bit of time to have this kind of churn through. It's not long, but like everything in life, it's not instantaneous. So you just gotta be a little patient. So here we can start to see that it's starting to check on things. So 7 zips detected app deployment type. So it's now starting to check. And then we'll do the second one, app intent eval. So this current state is installed. It still thinks it's installed. So now we can see, aha, so here, yeah, this is the application that gets installed. And it's being detected as installed. That's why it's showing this. And that's why it says in here, installed, applicable result state, not config state not needed. So we needed to detect that it's not installed because we uninstalled it. Oh no, it's back. Okay. Must not have gone through properly. Alright, there we go. So now there's a control panel applet on the device. Can do control panel config, and then we'll do a machine policy, but the main one that really matters in this case is that application one, because we want it to detect that it's not currently installed. So current state not installed, whereas its current state back here was installed. So it's now detected it's not installed because we uninstalled it. So now this is the application. There's also a package program, but we want the application. So now we can click install. When we click install, it's going to have to download it locally to the CCM cache, and the numbers and folders it creates in here are randomized, so it's going to be different for every client. That can 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, that kind of stuff. And so once we download it, there's also logs for that, of course. So now it's going to work on downloading it. So let's check the cas.log, and we can see it, So if we create a download request, it found its DP, download completed. So, and it put it under it created a new folder called 1, and that's where it put it. So then we can look at the app enforce.log, where it, app enforcement, performing detection of app enforcement environment, preferring work to occurrence. So basically it's calling the command to install the file from this location. It created that folder. As you saw, that wasn't there before. It's running the command, in our case a batch file, which then calls the MSI command. And it, is going to try to do it. It defaults to try to install it for 120 minutes. And then the return code for the app, in this case, because it's a success, is return code 0. So that's what we're looking for. And if we come into Software Center, it should now be detected as installed again. And then if we come over to here, all apps, 7-zip. That's it. Yay! So we did today's episode. That was exciting. So we took 7-zip, which we in the first episode built it, and then we quickly were able to take that, since we built it locally, figured out what the command line was, so we knew it worked. So then when we built it into here, if something didn't work, we knew where to troubleshoot it, and we built it into here as an application. We created a device collection to deploy it to, added the device that we're using as testing to that collection, and deployed and distributed it to the distribution points. And then we came into here and checked the app intent eval, app discovery, came in because we did an available application. We're able to then come into here and install it. So that's that. It worked. Yay! So thanks for stopping by. This is Cat Switch, our tech channel, covering all things Microsoft device identity, user management, deployment. And thanks for stopping by. The next episode will be episode 3. We'll review doing a required deployment of this application, plus creating a package out of this as well. So, and then the 4th episode, we'll do an Endpoint Manager deployment of the same application using the Win32 app wrapping, and then kind of discuss what that looks like. So, hope everybody has a great day. Please, if you're new here, consider doing a like and subscribe. It really does help. Hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.